You reach a point sometimes where you know you can't go back. Not back to the life you were living or the job you had, not back to the way you used to see yourself because age changes things, so do seasons, and not back to the version of you that kept making things work because we get tired, it gets old, right? And the hardest part is even when you don't want that old life, you don't know what replaces it just yet. Or maybe you thought you were preparing for it and it's just not working out. And that is exactly where a lot of women get stuck. It's where I got stuck as I was transitioning from uh, a place and a season that I knew it was time to shut the door and move on. I thought I was preparing myself. I was getting the resources, diving into the education I needed and the processes. And when I made that transition, it felt like the bottom fell out. There's this sense of helplessness and definitely a sense of being defeated because you thought you were doing all the right things. And then you start to lose ground that you did gain. And you start telling yourself stories like, I'm behind. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I definitely missed my opportunity. I waited way too long, which sometimes is the case, but it doesn't mean that you can't move forward into that season and have the vision you have deeply planted in you come to fruition. Before we go any further, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss an episode of Comeback Conversations. Because right here is where we talk, real women come in and talk and walk through real life transitions and the experiences and the ups and the downs and the curves and the elbows. And I don't want you to miss any of these conversations. But here's what I want you to hear. Not knowing all the ins and outs, the complete pathway for what you're about to step into or that you have stepped into and it's not going the way it should, it doesn't mean that nothing's happening because there is something happening. It means something you used to rely on, things about yourself that worked in the prior season, no longer is actually holding you. I was not a procrastinator. I was a make the list, check it off, get her done, and let's keep going. And I found myself as I stepped out into unknown territory, which I thought I knew something about it, not everything, but knew something about it. When you step into that and oh my gosh, the rug has been jerked out from underneath you. I began to procrastinate. Would have this joy and this passion to go after that next step or that next place that I needed to go or accomplishment or thing I needed to build. And it just would sit there and it would be pretend work. And then you come to a point where you're like, wow, mm-hmm, that was a lot of pretend work. Nothing happened, but it did because now you're recognizing things that you used in your past season don't necessarily serve you completely in your new season. And there is something to what's holding you back, which we'll go into detail inside of another session or a conversation, comeback conversation that has to do with the world will tell you it's a character flaw, that your self-limitations are a character flaw. But I'm here to tell you, we don't realize that past wounds cause the setbacks and the limitations and the things going on that keep us from achieving our vision, our goals, our dreams. We don't realize the connection. But like I said, that's a conversation for another day. So the things that gave you a sense of place, those roles, the routines, the relationships, the networking, even certain dreams, just they don't land the same way anymore. Some of the dreams that I've had in past years are no longer, I mean, I was so excited about them. One happened to be buying property in Georgia for retreat property. I was passionate about that for over, well, we'll just say 2 years. Researched, did the work, found a realtor, um, found out, some things that are required in the state to be a landowner. And then that dream started to fade away. And it was sad. It was depressing. It's like, my goodness, I was so excited about this. This is something I knew was a dream I wanted to accomplish. So I felt that feeling of loss. I started to grieve that dream. But here's what I didn't know. The pathway was already laid out for me. I couldn't see it. Greater results were waiting for me, greater vision. And there was something for me to learn inside of that journey. That little journey prepared me for what I am doing now for 2026. So nothing is wasted, and sometimes it feels a little self-defeating, but if you listen to this conversation and you continue to involve yourself in our comeback conversations, you will start to see before you feel. You will know what to do with those feelings because you didn't fail. I didn't fail. I didn't fail. I don't call that a failure at all because it's serving me for my season now. Has it taken me a little longer to achieve um, my goals, my season goals, fully stepping into my season? Yes. But man, the gold that I have gained along the way, priceless. Absolutely priceless. You cannot carry your old season as a crutch for your new season. And hear what I'm saying and what I'm not saying, because I don't want you to get confused with like my example, my pursuit of property for retreat property in the wrong state, and the lessons learned there. That I do not, when I say season, we're talking about seasons of life that, okay, let me see if I can break this down. That could be considered a season, a small season, but there were lessons learned, and I had not fully stepped into it. I was still researching, like, and resourcing, like I was doing before I left the service, knowing I wanted to step into entrepreneurship and knowing that I wanted to bring certain values and breakthroughs and visions to the women I serve. So there is a difference. I hope I made that a little more clear. But when you realize you can't go back, it too feels like a loss because you are standing in unknown territory and you feel kind of rejected from your old season and definitely rejected from your new season because you haven't fully stepped into it. But let's pump the brakes here because you don't need to rush it. It's a process. And I know we want everything like this. Like I need to step from the old into the new because that's what we have always done. When you're in midlife transition, it is different. When you have your children raised, your family is taken care of, um, your property is paid for, your vehicles are paid for, and maybe or maybe not. But there was a fierce drive when we became teenagers and then stepped out on our own once we graduated, whether it was college, whether it was into our own homes, places, renting, uh, jobs. We had a drive and we knew what we had to do to get what we wanted. And we knew we had to take care of bills. We had to take care of um, our daily requirements, so on and so forth. When you get to midlife, there's generally not the dramatic push and force of having to make ends meet because you've accomplished so much up to that point. You have a freedom now to step into your dream. So let me ask you a question. What part of your old life do you know that you cannot return to? Even though you don't know maybe what replaces it right now or what the next steps are to step into the vision that you have or the feeling of being whole or fulfilled, because sometimes losing that prior season can make us feel less than we are. Knowing what part of your old life you can't return to, I mean, you already know the answer to this, but you need to recognize that space. Not reach and grab for what's next, but recognize that space. You have to mourn it, so to speak. You have to let it go. You have to feel the door close and completely release to step into your next phase. And this is the area and the space that it feels kind of lonely, and that's why you need community. Sometimes you feel like you're floating in this space too, and you feel, like I said, rejected from the old and seriously rejected by the new. But here's another question for you. Where are you still trying to live like the woman you were, even though you know you're not her anymore? Yes, you are the culmination of all you have been through, but who you were is not who you are now or and who you are in your new season. You're more. Don't limit yourself. Your new season, your new dreams, desires, fulfillments, the things that you want for yourself and your family, the legacy that you want to leave, all of that, the season, whatever it looks like, ministry, business owner, um, community provider, resource provider, whatever your passion is for your future season, it's not asking you to become someone else. It's just asking you to stop living from what has already been closed and sealed. There's nothing there for you to return to because it's going to do more hurt than good. And if you're there right now and you're feeling completely lost and unsure about where you belong, It's okay. You're just in the in between. And you need to go back to the questions I asked and be honest with yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to say goodbye to the old and look into the future with hope, with the knowing that you're going to become more because you are more. Between the two are where comebacks are born. You're in your comeback season, and your comeback matters. It matters to you, and it matters to the people you're going to touch. And I'm here for it, and I'm here for you. So be blessed, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.